All right, now that we understand what n8n is and what it can do, let's move into the core building blocks of n8n. These are the fundamental nodes that you would use in almost every workflow, and these are categorized into the trigger nodes, the action nodes, and a bit of data handling. By the end of this model, you'll be able to build your first working automation that captures data from an external tool and logs it into Google Sheets. Let's get right into it. In the previous lesson, I did talk about the various ways in which you can trigger, right? So let's look at the trigger nodes we have in here. I had talked about the fact that you can trigger manually, you can trigger on app events, you can trigger on a schedule, you can use a webhook call, you can trigger on form submission, on a chat message, and so many other ways. Let's focus first on the webhook trigger, because if you are connecting your tool or if you are trying to receive data from a different application, most likely you'll be using the webhook trigger, because the webhook trigger sort of listens for incoming data. So for example, when someone completes a purchase or if someone submits a form that isn't really linked to your Google Sheets and you connect the form information with a webhook trigger in here, you'll be able to capture information from that tool so that it gets populated into another tool you have within your automation. So you can basically copy the webhook URL, paste it in your form tool, and then instantly receive data from n8n. And you can also transfer data from that tool into n8n as well. One pro tip is that always test your webhook using the test webhook button. And this is basically what you do. You just click on listen for test event and you'll be able to see what data comes in as well. In the last chapter of this model, I'm going to demonstrate how you can do this as well. Now, the other trigger we want to focus on is the schedule trigger. Okay, so the schedule trigger is also called the cron trigger. Okay, this one runs on a schedule. So it could be hourly, it could be seconds, it could be minutes, it could be weeks. It's perfect for automated reports or if you have any routine tasks that you need to run. And then an example would be if you have to send a daily Slack message at a specific time, let's say 9 a.m., with sales summary or meeting summary, then you're most likely going to be using the cron trigger. Now, the other trigger mode I want to talk about is the app trigger. So this would basically run if you want to trigger the flow when something happens in an external app like Telegram or Airtable. So this is slightly different from the webhook node we just looked at. So the good thing is that n8n comes with a lot of pre-built app triggers. So for example, when a new role is added to Google Sheets, you can really use the Google Sheets trigger, and you can see that it has different actions that you can sort of trigger on. You can trigger on when a new role has been added, like I said, or a role has been updated. So when a new role is added in Google Sheets, or if you want to use an email as a trigger, then if the email provider you're using is Gmail, then you can set Gmail as your trigger so that it triggers the workflow when a message is received. So these really remove the need to poll or check manually in those apps when a message is received or when an action happens. n8n will basically do the listening for you. So I just want to say that the triggers, they are all about when something happens. So once you make a decision in your own processes, in your own automation about when something happens, then you can use any of these trigger modes we have or trigger categories or classes we have within n8n to trigger your workflow or to start your workflow. n8n will just take care of the rest. So all you have to decide is when something happens and n8n would handle everything.